Picture two farmhands during a hard harvest season. The first carries a heavy sack, but the sack is torn along every seam. Grain pours in all day, but it spills out just as fast through the holes. By nightfall, he's exhausted, and his sack is empty. The second man carries a small tin box. It's dented and ugly, but it's sealed shut, no leaks. He earns far less grain than the first man, but every kernel he catches, he keeps. By the end of the season, the man with the huge sack is asking to borrow food. The man with the small sealed tin is the only one who can afford to lend it. This is the actual math of money, and almost nobody teaches it. We're obsessed with income. We assume the fix for money problems is simple: earn more. But earning more with a leaking system doesn't make you richer, it just makes the leak faster. During the hardest years of the last century, one group of American households figured this out by necessity. Without banks they trusted, without credit, without apps, they built a system using nothing but a notebook, a pencil, and a set of paper envelopes. Historians later gave it a name: the envelope ledger. It wasn't a spreadsheet, it wasn't a budget app, it was a physical ritual that forced you to look your own spending directly in the eye. It's the real reason so many households from that era quietly built savings that outlasted their entire working lives. Today, we're going to break down exactly how it worked, not by earning more, by patching the leak. Here's why we're so bad with money in the first place: because money became invisible. You tap a card, you click buy, you never actually watch the money leave your hand. Psychologists call this the pain of paying, and cash triggers it far more than plastic ever does. When you swipe instead of hand over bills, that pain gets numbed. You don't feel it until the statement arrives, and by then the damage is already done. The old envelope system worked by putting that pain back. Writing coffee $4 by hand forces your brain to process the cost differently than a tap ever will. Suddenly, the invisible becomes visible again. Here's the entire method, stripped down to 4 honest questions asked at the start of every month. How much do I actually have coming in? How much do I want to set aside before I spend a cent? How much do my fixed bills actually require? And what's my plan to do better than last month? Most people do this backwards. They spend first and save whatever happens to be left over, which is usually nothing. This method flips the order completely. Income minus savings equals what you're allowed to spend. If you take home $2,000 and want to save $300, that $300 disappears immediately before a single bill is paid. Now you're forced to live on the rest, and that constraint is the entire engine of the system. Every dollar left over gets sorted into 4 simple envelopes: needs, rent, food, the electric bill, non-negotiable but not unimprovable; wants, takeout, drinks, the things that quietly drain a paycheck; growth, books, tools, anything that genuinely builds you. This one's allowed to exist, but it still gets tracked. And the unexpected envelope, for the flat tire and the broken window nobody plans for. Every single evening for about 3 minutes, the ritual repeats. Receipts get sorted into their envelopes while the memory is still fresh. Spend $50 at a bar last night? You write it down the next morning and you feel it sting. That sting is what stops you from doing it again tonight. Most people only check their finances at the end of the month. By then, it's an autopsy, not a checkup. When the fun envelope runs empty, the spending stops completely. There's no overdraft, there's no card to fall back on. An empty envelope simply cannot buy another round. That hard physical limit is what actually builds self-control in a way no app notification ever manages. There's one more rule that quietly kills impulse spending altogether. See something you want that isn't a real need? You don't buy it. You write it on a waiting list instead. 30 days later, you look at that list again. Ask yourself honestly, do I still want this, or was I just bored or stressed or tired that day? Most of the time, the urge is already gone. You saved the money by simply doing nothing at all. At the end of each month comes the hardest part, an honest review. Not to punish yourself, to collect the data. Where did the plan actually break and why? Maybe you notice you spend the most on the nights you're stressed at work. Now you have a pattern, and a pattern can be replaced with something that costs nothing at all. Here's the part almost nobody tells you about wealth. It was never about how much you earn. It's about the gap between what comes in and what goes out. Someone earning a small salary but keeping a wide gap ends up freer than someone earning triple, spending every cent of it. Because the second person owns their time. The first one is still renting it out one paycheck at a time. The notebook was never really about money. It was a mirror, and it told the truth whether you wanted to hear it or not. So here's a 7-day challenge before you close this video. For 1 week, write down every single cent you spend on paper by hand. At the end of it, circle everything that wasn't a real need. You'll be shocked at exactly how much money quietly disappeared. Awareness, it turns out, is always the first line in the ledger.